we'll pay for them. We'll pay for them y le puedes poner el nombre tuyo, el nombre de veterano, whatever, and put them in the park. Because I don't see any benches, just the ones that are under the palapa where people can see, but all around the park, I don't see benches. And that's a good idea. Bring it up to my council member. So this is the reason I'm here today, Mr. Chairman, just to let you know and give you information on how we're doing as far as the park. We're working on it. My councilman is taking care of the city side. I'm taking care of letting all the veterans know. So when we have dedication, we can invite all the veterans to be there.
Councilman, we really appreciate all the work you've done and other people. We still are councilmen for the former councilmen.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate all the work you've done.
Thank you, sir.
For not only for veterans, but this is a park that's going to be enjoyed by everybody also.
Everybody.
So and what you're saying is the turnkey is ready, it's operational already, so
It's already.
It's just a matter of rededication. But I'd like to go back to the benches because obviously we older warriors in this committee and in this neighborhood or community, we need to sit down more often than others. So what you're saying is that the veteran that suggested that is that we can put benches in with the name of the veteran. Is that what you said? Did I understand you correctly?
Of the benches?
Yes.
On the benches, you can put whatever. So you can put maybe I can buy one and put the name of my father and my uncles, or you can buy one and put your name.
Right, and that's going to be paid by the veteran.
By the veteran. You know.
What's your price?
Also, another thing, one of the veterans mentioned to me, he asked me if we can put some type of playground for disabled kids. But the only part that we have for disabled kids, if I'm not mistaken, is in North Laredo. We have kids in wheelchairs, or que no puedan caminar, walkers or whatever. But he mentioned to me that some of the playgrounds on that park are broken, ya están quebrados. So he asked me if we could put some over here in this park. I said, well, I'll bring it up to my councilman, but maybe we can do it. But we have some people in South Laredo that take their kids all the way to North Laredo so they can enjoy the handicap park there, you know, disabled park. So I'm gonna bring it up before my city councilman. Now, you guys have any questions, the board?
Any questions or comments by the committee?
The benches, do you know how much they're gonna cost, sir?
Just the changing of the name of the word. It's gonna be a minimal cost. Because it's like when you rent an apartment que ya está furnished. It's furnished already.
Okay.
You know, este park is furnished. All we do is just change from Independence Hill Regional Park to Independence Hills Veterans Park.
No, I was saying the cost to purchase the bench or.
Oh, the bench is gonna be up to whoever wants to put it.
More or less cost on the purchase.
I know that I looked into it a couple of months ago. I know that the bench costs about $1,000, but you can put whatever in the bench, your name, your deceased veteran or whatever.
Okay.
But can you choose, pick and choose whatever bench you want, or you want some kind of uniformity on the benches?
No, that's the thing, Mr. Chairman. I have to get together with my city councilman and we'll discuss that. I mean, we don't want to put
that's what I mean.
everything uniform.
You can pick and choose a bench, that this is the bench you're gonna.
This is the one you're gonna put. That's it.
And all the benches will be the same.
They'll be the best things.
I think you're familiar because I know you've helped out a lot in the cemetery. With,
Yes, sir.
Fila and all that. So maybe standardizing it the way he did at the city on the veteran side like that to include the type of letters and the wording you can put on there. Kind of like in the cemetery, the Arlington National Cemetery only allows you to put certain things on there.
We'll make sure that all benches are the same.
Yeah, that would be
What
awesome.
material are you gonna use?
That would be awesome.
Yes, sir.
What material are you gonna use?
Can you get back with us when you find out the cost, not approximately, but the cost, and when we can go and be at the reunion?
I know that monument across the street from the cemetery, they're the ones that sell the benches there. And I know that a bench costs about $1,000, but it's marble.
Yeah.
And you can put whatever on it.
Can you get back with us?
Okay.
Sir, Mr. Segovia had a question for you,
He answered it.
Oh, he answered it?
Yes, sir, Marvel.
Awesome, awesome.
Is there any more questions?
Questions or comments?
Let us know so we can do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. Next item on the agenda, we're gonna table it, by Crystal Savidio. Savidio is not present, and, so we gonna put it for the next, meeting next month. Also. Before we move into the, agenda items, there's a couple of points that I'd like to make. Yesterday and for the rest of the week, we are remembering, honoring all of Purple Heart recipients, just for everybody's information. Also, tomorrow, Mr. President, correct me if I'm wrong, tomorrow is the deadline to file for the PACT Act, whether you want to file for the PACT Act. Is that correct?
That is correct. They're talking about extending it. However, I don't have an official memo saying that they are gonna extend it. Best thing you can do is between today and tomorrow, just file an intent to file, and that gives you one more year. One more year to gather whatever evidence. If you're not sure if you qualify or not, if you think you may, or you think your brother, cousin, uncle, nephew, friends, that are veterans, they might qualify, or they might think, just do the intent to file. It takes 5 minutes. You can do it at my office. You can do it at the clinic. You can do it over the phone at the 1-800-827-1000 number. Just make sure you do the intent to file, and that will buy you one more year. It does have to be turned in and submitted before midnight at 11:59 tomorrow PM. By no later than 11:59 PM tomorrow evening or night. Again, Chairman, I just want to reiterate, even if there's a small chance you might qualify, or you think you might, just do the intent to file. If you don't, or you don't want to do it after all, whatever, the intent to file just goes away. Nothing happens to it, or you're not committed to anything. It's just for your protection, to give you another year.
Interesting. I don't have all the information on the PACT Act, but I've been reading on it because I got more interested in what's going on with the PACT Act, and I know that the local VA had a workshop a couple of weeks or so ago, and I was out of town, I couldn't make it, but for the Vietnam veterans, if you served in Vietnam, or I believe it's 200 miles offshore, or something like that, you're gonna be covered under the Agent Orange. That's no doubt about it. It's presumed that you have a problem with Agent Orange, and so you automatically qualify. The Afghanistan, Iraq warriors, there's also a very extensive area where you will qualify. So, like Mr. Garza said, if nothing else, if you don't know exactly, just file the intent, which I'm gonna do myself. I wasn't gonna do it, but I am gonna do it.
It won't hurt if you're already at 90, 100, at 10%. It nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's just to hold the date. That's all it is. Because I have had veterans tell me, well, it's because, I no le quiero mover, air quotations. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's just to hold the date, give you one additional year. That's all it is. So it's very important. 5 minutes to fill out the intent to file.
And more important is the health care that you're gonna get if you are covered under this PACT Act. Is more extensive, but I understand, than what we get right now.
And
how it is, I don't know.
And when we all pass away, and if we survive our spouse, then our spouse gets benefits because of that.
Yes.
So even if you're not at 100%, or if you have children that are under the age of 18 or under the age of 23 and going to college, they will benefit from that too. So that's what I'm saying. Even if there's a small chance, just do the intent. It's the best thing that we just came from a training up in College Station for the entire state, and our both regional offices were there, Waco and Houston, and I won't go on anymore, but I'll just say both of them were emphasizing to tell all our veterans to do the intent to file.
Before we move on with this meeting, I was just informed that our IT department was not present and our meeting has not been recorded. We are being asked that if we start our meeting from scratch. And I would like to have the input of the committee members as to whether they want to restart the meeting from the beginning, or just continue and being recorded from this point on? What are the wishes of the committee? The meeting that we started at 11:30 was not being recorded by the IT department because they were not present. They requested that we start the meeting from scratch. Hey, would you please come to the podium, please? Whoever wants to address this issue.
I move we continue.
Yes.
Humberto Trevino for the record. I suggest that we continue the meeting as it is in its present form, as opposed to restarting.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
I think that the young lady that was here was recording.
She was, but I don't know where she's from. She's there.
You're from where?
Maybe she could give she's from KGNS.
Oh, who is this? I don't have, sorry, I can't see that far.
Maybe she can give the recording to.
Okay, with that said, I will entertain a motion to continue the meeting as of this point.
I move we continue the meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we continue the meeting as we started. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion passes. We will continue the meeting from this point on, like we did at 11:30. Thank you so much. So anyway, any other questions or comments on the PACT Act or any items that we have discussed with the PACT Act?
Vietnam veterans don't apply for that, huh?
I'm sorry?
Vietnam veterans don't apply for that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's two more things that they added, at least two that they added. There's more coming down the pipeline. And we just came from the training.
Yeah, if you served in Vietnam, it doesn't matter what part of Vietnam or
Or the
or
Agent
within
Orange
200
areas.
miles of the shore of
Yeah.
Vietnam, you are already qualified under Agent Orange. There's plenty other categories that you can qualify. But under all of us that were in country, regardless what unit you were in,
Signature.
you will be covered under Agent Orange. And the benefits, what I believe is the health, because we are deteriorating, us warriors from Vietnam are deteriorating faster than anybody else. And new illnesses are coming.
I've already got 180% service.
Well, that was my question. That's why I was not gonna file, because of that. But,
Let me answer that.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
it's easy. So are you at 100% 10 years?
180.
108, but it only goes to 100, but you have 100. Are you?
I've got a total of.
Yeah, a total of 180 points, which
180%.
equals
But,
100%.
My 100% came in November of 2011.
Okay, so you'll be okay because you are 100% 10 years. However, if anybody else is at 100% less than 10 years and they pass away of, let's say, hypertension, which is one of the items that coming up for
Yes.
Agent Orange, I'm sorry, for the PAC Act, then their family will be covered, that it's less than 10 years. If you're at 90% or less for 30 years, it doesn't matter, but you're not at 100, your family will be covered, even if it doesn't get you to 100%. So in your case, yeah, you're good. You'll be good because you hit 100 over 10 years. So you'll be good. Your family will be covered no matter what happens. But the next veteran might not, and that's why the both regional offices, Waco and Houston, are
For the rest of us.
emphasizing to us to just tell everybody it takes literally 5 minutes to do the intent to file. The hardest part is nothing. We just direct submit it. We can fax it in. You can fax it in. If you mail it in, it might be too late now. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, just a point of information. After I came back from Vietnam in 1970, around 5 or 10 years later, I got a letter from the VA asking me if I served in Vietnam from this date, this year, and around this area to go and check myself for Agent Orange. I did, and I was. So I got a letter from the VA, and I went to the VA, and they did find out that I was affected by Agent Orange.
Right, but, so Agent Orange itself is not a disability. The effects that come from the
Right.
Agent Orange, right, so you can be exposed to Agent Orange and be totally healthy, and it just didn't affect you. And you could have been exposed literally where they were dropping them on the canopies in the jungles of Vietnam or wherever.
So it's only if you got affected, if you have one of the known diseases that come from the effects of Agent Orange, from the herbicide, and it's actually herbicide, yes. Yeah, so, like I said, there are veterans, believe it or not, and I've seen them, that were Vietnam, were in designated areas, and they don't have the diabetes, they don't have the heart issues, they don't have the skin issues, none of that stuff. It just affects people differently. I don't know what the triggers are or all that, I'm not a medical doctor, but I do know that, it's the effects that come from it.
But correct me again, Mr. Garza, if I'm
Yes, sir.
wrong, but this PACT Act will cover, if you cover under the PACT Act, will cover your dependents, your family members. Correct?
Are you talking about medical wise?
Yes.
No, no, that's something else, that's the Hispanic Diffida, I think.
Okay.
But that's something different, but also due to Agent Orange, but that's a birth defect that comes from that.
But there, under Agent Orange, there's multiple items that are covered, the diabetic, hypertension, with different cancers.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, you might be healthy today, but if you develop it tomorrow, you know, and that does happen, you know, so not everybody develops it at the same age or same time.
I think it's just like asbestos. I mean, you have it in the system, but it's dorm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it, you
20
nailed
years,
it.
20 years later, boom.
Yeah,
Right.
or not, yeah, so that, yeah, that's a horrible disease to die of. Yes, sir.
Like I said, just a point of information, tomorrow is the deadline unless they extend it. They won't take, you can go online also, but I'd rather go in person and
It take you,
get it
it'll
done.
take us 5 minutes to do it, it's a very short form, it's the signatures basically at the end, and all it does, it just holds the date. That's pretty much it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
This is concerning those that have not filed. If you have any questions, file for an intent. They'll give you another year to discover what exactly you're qualified for.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the items for discussion on the agenda. The first item we have is discussion with possible action by Isabel Ramirez Shroud regarding the creation of a Veterans Committee calendar and any matters incident thereto. Isabel on
She's not
Zoom?
present.
She's not
Oh,
on
on
Zoom?
She's on Zoom.
She is?
Yes.
Isabel, can you hear us? Isabel? Okay, with no response, we will table this item, so I'll entertain a motion to table the item.
I'm over the table this item for now.
Second.
Motion to table and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes. Motion will be tabled. Next item on agenda has also been, is a discussion with possible action by VFW representative regarding accountability of every veterans organization in the committee, any matters incident to. I've been advised that this item, they would like to table it also, so. I'll entertain a motion to table the item, item number 2.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against nay, the motion passes. Item number 3, discussion with possible action by VFW representative regarding active service members to go in free to the rec centers and any matter incident thereto. Mr. Quijano?
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Ricardo Quijano for the record. Just so you know, the City of Laredo Rec Centers, Parks and Recs, any veteran, I don't know if you're aware, any veteran could go to a rec center and it's free of charge. I don't know if you knew that.
Veteran
could-
or active?
Veteran, that's the thing. It states
No.
veteran. And that's why I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
To have,
Yeah, because the item says active service members.
yes,
So-
to add active service members in the
Or
wording.
veterans.
Yes, to all service members,
Okay.
whether active or not active. The reason is there's a lot of service members here on Operation Lone Star, assisting Department of Homeland Security, right? And this way they can have a way out, sports, kind of like ease their mind by physical activity, so they can use the gym, they can use the basketball court, they can use, my understanding is they like using the Haynes Rec Center racquetball. And that way we could spread the word and they could go out there and have some physical activity.
So right now, they cannot,
No,
they cannot go.
no, just
So
veterans.
we don't have any of the city council
That's-
members
I
present.
know, yes, sir.
So we'll make sure that this particular item is sent over to the city council for their consideration.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Khan, I got a question. So if I heard you correct, you're saying that right now, as it stands, all rec centers are free of charge to veterans, as it stands today,
Yes, sir.
without any modification?
Right.
So does that include, like, the pools and the, community fields and stuff like that, or is it
My
just
understanding,
the rec centers?
when I spoke to Mr. Gustavo, in charge of Haynes Rec Center, he did mention it's free to all veterans, all the rec centers, no matter where you go, it could be the Faskin. I don't know all about the pools though. I have to
Or
get
the other, like the
clarification.
baseball fields and, whatever other fields are out there, wait, do they even charge for those? No, well, yeah, I guess when you go in, right?
I would get clarification, I could give them a call, and that way I could kind of like include more
Yeah,
to it
'cause I don't-
for veterans and service members.
Cause I know the pool, like I know a couple of veterans that go to the North Central Park one and they have a class, movement class in the water. Man, I think they have to pay, but I'm not too sure.
Well, I know when I stopped playing ball a couple of years ago, we had to pay for the electricity to use the lights.
Yeah, something like, so if you don't mind letting us know, Mr. Quijano, we'd appreciate that.
I'll get more clarification. I mean, I'll get more clarification for that, Mr. Garza, but, you know, the main.
Yeah, to
purpose
include, yes,
was
to include, yeah,
service
we
members,
agree.
especially the ones here,
Yeah.
from San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, they're all from all over Texas. And
Yeah,
it's-
but
it's
this is news to me about veterans being able to use the rec centers for free. So that's something that,
Oh, yeah.
that we need to
Yes,
put
sir.
out to our
Yes.
community of veterans.
Yes, sir.
And see if that's the case and how expands it goes, you know, to baseball fields and things like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
we appreciate the work you're doing. Don't leave, Mr. Quijano, because we're at the end of our items on the agenda and would like to bring back your item on the MIA Korean War veterans. I think the IT is working now, right?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, go ahead. What about number 4?
No, that was number 4, yes, on
No,
communications.
that was number 3.
Well, number 1 on the communications,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
yeah.
There we go. It's up.
Good to go. Okay, as you can see here, this is celebration of life for Sergeant Crescentiano Garcia Jr. Passed away down in Korea. His remains were found through DNA. He's going to be coming to Laredo, his burial service. It's, my understanding, it's going to be done through Fort Sam Houston. Are going to be providing the services, the military services for Sergeant Garcia Jr. It's going to be October 14th. The time is still to be determined, okay? The nephew, I believe it's Rolando Vera, requested many veterans to attend the funeral and pay respects for the veteran. The VFW, Post 9194 is in as well. We're probably going to have also officials, elected officers from other districts, other cities come down here and pay their respects also. Here. This is also what I was sent from the nephew. And I mentioned earlier, there's going to be another celebration of life. You can barely see it.
Keep your finger pressed on.
While you're doing that, Mr. Quijano, we have another meeting or so before this event happens. And we would like, as veterans and warriors, to participate as much as we can under this
Yes.
time that the family is receiving this warrior. But we also need an update from you, how far we can go as an organizations that we represent in being able to participate. And what kind of parameters the family will allow us to do.
Yes, sir. And here's the,
And the reason I
That's the
say
one.
this is because all the veterans organizations and the warriors veterans that we have here in our community will go out, and I remember the David Lee procession was really very impressive. And if the family would like to have that, I mean, obviously, this community will go all out in accepting the remains of Sergeant Garcia, you said?
yes, yes, sir.
So if you let us know just how far we can go on that. I can't see.
Will do.
Obviously, we have a local chapter of the Korean War Veterans Association, and Mr. Sanchez is present, so I'm sure that he's very much involved in what's going on, and he's always done a great job with his organization and with veterans in general, but particularly the Korean War veterans.
Again, for the record, Jesus Segovia, you just mentioned that we have a Korean war veteran organization. They, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have about seven Korean war veterans. And I would like to make a motion that when we do have this ceremony of life for Crescencio, that the Korean War veterans that are able to make the funeral, that they be honored as honor pallbearers, and that they, if they can, that they lead the procession into the burial grounds.
Absolutely, that would be a great gesture in the veterans' part, especially how Mr. Sanchez and his organization have
And I
done
know
for this
Mr.
community.
Sanchez knows all of them, and he even goes and picks them up and takes them with him, you know, because some of them cannot drive anymore.
Yeah.
But I would love for all the Korean War veterans to be pallbearers at their funeral.
That would be something that whether you and Mr. Quijano could address, be right with you, Mr. Lopez, could speak to the family, because we really in the
During
hands
the
of.
last Korean War veteran that came home with Mr. Castor, I think it was around 2010 or so. Because he's still considered active duty.
Yes.
The director is an active duty director, funeral director, is actually active duty. So whatever happens, it has to be coordinated through him.
Through the DOD, correct.
From the command, whether they come, the person will be directly in charge of that, because again, it's still considered active duty. And I know that the last time that we had Mr. Castor, obviously there was very little participation that we had, but if I remember correctly, he was in charge of directing everything, so. Yes, we can honor that, we can do all those things, but I think we need to be very wise and very conscious as to coordinate with the director, the active duty director that will be coming, that will be putting together the event.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Mr.
You know, the bottom line is that we have organizations here that will do whatever we can to honor this warrior that's coming home. And we'd like to do the right thing and not be able to hinder any of the family's wishes.
Yes.
Can we hear from
I
Mr.
did,
Sanchez?
I did call the number. There's a 1-800 number, and it's out of Fort Knox, Kentucky. I did speak to the lady. I do have her phone, her name and phone number. Now, this is what she stated. Mr. Lopez is correct. Like, a CAC officer is going to be assigned to Sergeant Garcia, right? Most likely, it's going to be Fort Sam Houston
Sure.
doing the funeral detail, since he did die while as a POW and in combat. So we're just going to wait till a CAC officer is going to be assigned.
And
We're
all we
just
can
waiting
do
on
is
that.
just ask.
Yes, sir.
And the gesture that was put forward by Mr. Segovia because of the yeoman work that Mr. Sanchez and his organization have done is well worth mentioning. It's only going to be a honorary pallbearers.
Yes, sir.
And it's just a matter of the hard work that the Korean War Veteran Organization has put up to this community and their membership. It's just an honor all the way around. So if it cannot be done, then that's fine, it cannot be done.
And just showing the presence.
Absolutely.
Presence.
Thank
That's
you very
most
much.
important.
Word from Mr. Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez?
My name is Ernesto Sanchez, and I want to thank the PFW for taking over these ceremonies. I will be glad to do whatever they want me to do. We're only 3 that are walking, so we're not capable to do what they're going to do. So we want to thank them. Whatever they want, I can get my other 2 men, and we can work together. Anything they need, we'll be glad to help them. God bless them, and God bless you all.
Mr. Sanchez, I feel that I can speak to all the warriors in this room. You are an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you
on
very
the work
much.
that you have done and continue to do at this time for all the veterans in our community. So again, we thank you for all the work you've done.
I follow these rules, the one that Lincoln said. No, nothing bad to anybody, goodwill to everybody. I also follow Don Benito Juárez saying, el derecho al respeto ajeno es lo que debe de ser. I respect you all, you're all my brothers, and thank you for having me. I'm not considered an old man, I'm only 94 and 80.
There you go, I was gonna ask that.
And Dr. Cigarro promised that I would live to 102 and I would be on a wheelchair. But I told him to get me one with a motor. So I'll throw that in. Mr. Quijano, God bless you for everything you're doing. I appreciate you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Any other comments or questions on this item?
If not,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, sir.
Mr. Arellano.
Just a point of information on Pedro Verano for the record. On item number 3 about the active members, I know that right now they cannot go in free, but as long as the mayor and the city council say they can go. Now, one thing, about 6 years ago, the veterans could go to rec center, but the only rec center that was available to them was downtown. And you had to pay for the membership. I think it was about $30 a year. So I spoke to my councilman at that time, Rudy Gonzalez, and we did away with that. We did away with a fee for the veterans, and they could go to any rec center. Because I mentioned, I'm from South Laredo, I'm gonna come all the way downtown. What about the people from North Laredo, East Laredo, Cenizo, Rio Bravo? So they did away with that. Now, right now, you don't even have to apply for a membership. In your driver's license, it says veterans.
Right.
All you have to do is just show your driver's license at any rec center, and they'll let you go in free.
Is that the policy right now, or?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
That's a policy. You don't have to register to be a member. Just show your driver's license. It says veterans on the bottom, and they'll let you go in free.
Thank you for your information, appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Any other questions or comments?
I have another comment.
Ms. Segovia?
The comment is this, I just received a text from Isabel Sharp, and it says that this idea was brought up before, and I wanted to suggest that the city creates a calendar for November and promotes to the public all organizations and businesses to submit their events going on at the same time on the same day. A printable version so that we can share it with our veterans in the month of November. We are only 3 months away, and we should have a calendar at least 2 or 3 months to give our organizers enough time to plan. In other words, have the city or people submit what they, like the schools, right? A lot of schools want us to participate in veterans honoring ceremony. And so for each school to submit what day they plan to have it so that not everybody has it on the same day. And that was one of the reasons that we spoke with Mr. Agregano to not have it on Veterans Day because there's too many events going on that day. And so that everybody submit whatever events they're gonna have. That's, this is.
That is very true, Mr. Segovia, and I believe it was brought up by the Black Widow organization
Yeah,
several
that's
months ago.
Isabel Shaw.
Right, and I believe that Councilmember Perez was gonna take the lead on this. And we need to put the item on the agenda again next month because it's something that is needed because of many different times during the year that we have so many conflicting events going on that we as veterans and warriors, we can attend all of them. And the general public the same way, you know. I'm sorry?
This was item number one, the one that was tabled?
Yes.
That's what he was
Yeah,
discussing.
but Isabel is not here to bring us more information, so I think we just need to bring it up for next,
We'll set up for
next meeting, again. And it's something that we needed very badly, but it's not the first time we discussed this, and we need to get, Councilmember Perez to see what, inroads she's made with the city council, because I believe they were gonna take the lead on this. With the assistance of all the organizations that we have here, because we do need to have a community calendar. So with that said, we just table the item and bring it back for next
For
meeting,
September? Yeah, yes, sir.
okay? Any other questions or comments? It is 12:28, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Did we do number, wait, you're missing number 4?
Yeah, we're missing
Item number 4. Item number 4.
Oh, yes, sorry about that. Item number 4, discussion and possible action by VFW representative regarding a Veterans Museum and any matter incident thereto.
Good afternoon, Chairman, fellow veterans, committee members.
Yes, sir.
I want to say like 3 weeks ago, there was a city council meeting. I don't know if you were aware. And Mayor Dr. Trevino brought up the Veterans Museum, okay? It's at a standstill right now. Mr. Trevino is actually here. Maybe he wants to talk on the museum. Last time, Councilwoman Perez, Lisa Perez tried to do a town hall meeting, but it was shut down. So I just texted the commander, Gilberto Gonzalez, because Gilberto Gonzalez is going to talk on the item that was tabled earlier. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. But he did authorize me to, if the VFW wants to spearhead like a town hall meeting, we'll make it happen. All right, to get it going, because this is just getting kicked down. It's getting kicked down the road, and like Mr. Vela, Alvarez, fellow veterans. To be blunt, y'all getting older, and most of y'all are not going to see a Veterans Museum if we keep doing this. Right? It's just we gotta speak what we gotta say, what we feel, but in a professional manner. We can't be yelling. We can't be criticizing like we did last time.
Can you move up to the mic so we can hear you?
Is that better?
Go ahead.
So we got to get it done. It's not only for us, but also for the future kids that we have, for our children, for our grandsons, for the elementary schools, for the middle school, for the high school students, that they want to see fellow Laredoans, veterans in a museum, what it's about. Like I told them, it's like, let's be honest. If you tell a kid, what do you want to see, a Veterans Museum or a water museum? Let's be honest. they're gonna say this. If the city can build a sports park, a baseball field, like almost 50 million, and the county could also build a county fairground for a lot more, but yet we don't come together for a Veterans Museum. And we gotta put everything aside. We gotta be transparent. We gotta put everything aside and be honest with ourselves to make it happen. And the VFW, if you want, we'll spearhead it and we'll have some kind of action, some meeting and see where it goes. Because council looks at us and they already know it's just bickering. It's just, we all know it. So let's, Chairman.
Mr. Quijano, all I can say is that this committee voted on not having a museum, Veterans Museum at a particular address. And we're on record, and it was tabled, and this committee is not in favor of a Veterans Museum at this address, not that we're not in favor of a museum.
Okay.
But we have to understand that there's many issues that come with a museum. And the first one, the way it is, that the way that the money that we're talking about, the way the money that was made accessible for this location is encumbered to that location. And it's not our problem. It's not the veterans, it's the city council and the county that did this. And that's why it's been going on for, what, 20 years? I don't know how long it's been. I know that Mr. Trevino and that group provided us with a brochure with all kinds of information. The problem also is that we just can't say we're going to have a museum. The average salary of a museum curator is $65,000 a year. Who's going to pay for all of those things? And those particular items, those issues have not been discussed as far as I know. The city doesn't want to do it. They got $1 million, what I understand. But that's just not even brick and mortar. That's just the planning stages that's going to cover that. And then you're going to have who's going to run it, who's going to pay the electrical bills, the utilities, and the salaries and things like that. So yeah, it's there, and you're right. We don't want to kick the bucket down the road, so to speak. But there's other issues that the veterans, in my opinion anyway. I, for one, would rather have health care than a museum. That we still need some more. My organization passed a resolution to that effect, that if we are going to spend some money in a museum and lack in health care, that we, the older warriors, are in more need than the younger warriors. We'd rather have health care than a museum. But that's just my organization. We got 12 other organizations here and other people. So it is an issue that is very volatile, to say the least, because there's a lot of unknowns that we don't know. But all I can say is that we as a committee already voted against a museum, a Veterans Museum at a particular location, and I don't know the address, that's why I'm saying a particular location. But other than that, I mean, we as veterans can, as a group, are obviously open for discussion on whatever issue will benefit the quality of life of the veterans. That's why I chose to accept this position as chairman, because that is the goal that I've been working along with all of you to improve the quality of life of our veterans and their families. If a Veterans Museum does that, then I'm all in favor for it.
No, it's understanding, and I understand you completely. At the same time, that's why you have the county and the city coming together, plus the veterans. Now, you're talking about the contract and the naming. You don't have to go just with that one. Just because the contract says, well, that's fine and dandy, you want the contract. You leave the contract there and move on to something else. You don't have to automatically stick to that contract. And
Chairman, if I may,
Yeah,
Dr. Lopez, for the record.
go ahead, Mr. Lopez.
I think it's important that, I concur with what Mr. Quijano is saying, and I also concur with what the chairman is saying. But there's really one important factor that we all need to look at, and we really need to understand the history behind it. and how that interlocal agreement came about, okay? If, it's, like the chairman stated, there are a lot of moving factors. If we want to pursue that as a nonprofit, there's nothing that we cannot do. There's nothing, we cannot interject and say this or say that. That was an agreement that was done many, many years ago. Well, probably you and I, were still active duty. And unfortunately, the word has evolved into a public misinterpretation that we were going to be built by the city and the county only, but in reality, there's a third party. And there was an organization, a third party, that was behind the movement. The organization no longer exists. It no longer exists. So, yes, we can kick this thing around, but if they want to do it, I mean, there's nothing else there's nothing that we can say that is going to force the city and the county to make the changes.
Exactly.
People are in a new agreement. That can create a lot of problems. That's all my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, and you are correct. I mean, that money is in the hands of the county and the city, and we as a committee that we are, we can't stop them from doing whatever they want to. That money is controlled by the county and the city. And they keep telling us that it cannot be moved to any other location, any other project or anything like that. So it is something that's done way before this committee was formed. But again, it is something that would be for the veterans and the community, that if we have a truly good Veterans Museum, and there's only 2 that I know of in the state of Texas that are really very being used by the state of Texas, and the one that I'm thinking is in Houston, I believe. That's probably the most successful one. And the other one, I forget where it's at, but there's only 2 museums in the whole state of Texas that are really, or been viable all this time for the communities, or profitable for that matter. But it's gonna be up to the elected officials whether they want to do it or not, because you're correct. I mean, they built all kinds of sports facilities and other social events. A museum would be a great thing for us to be able to our children and the community to go. But there's other issues that we as veterans are facing at this time, también. But for this particular money that we're talking about, we have no say-so whatsoever. I mean, we can say whatever we want, which we already have. And our commitment here from this committee, by majority of vote, is that money, that we were not in favor of that location. And it's in the hands of the city politicians to see what they want to do.
Yes, sir. No, I understand. I understand.
If I could,
Yes, go ahead.
if I heard you correctly, you were talking about spearheading what?
A stakeholders meeting,
So that's,
bringing everyone together and trying to find an avenue approach, how to, go about those speed bumps that we have. It's everyone, veterans organizations and city entities, governments coming together and trying to figure out for once and for all,
so,
make it happen.
so what you want to do is bring together,
Just a minute, Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Lopez,
Mr. Lopez, just a minute, please.
That very specific thing that you're trying to do,
Can you mute him?
that's already been tried.
I don't know.
They call this all the veterans organizations and the public to the National Guard on the week, and we've had a huge meeting. We had a meeting with everybody. It turned out to be a burger fight. And it was done by a nonprofit organization, a public entity that called everybody together. They said, you're gonna have a representative, everybody, there was a huge table, everybody was, they presented their case, everything was put up on the table. And I can't recall the year, but it was, I wanna say 2015, 2015, maybe. So yeah, it's been tried, and we know what came out of it, that the public saw it, of a bunch of people who were just out here and fighting over that issue. But that's been tried. But if you wanna do it, then I'm with you. But just so you know, it has been tried.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Alvarez?
Back to what we were talking about. You're going to research and bring us information on what is possible? Because the matter of the museum at that location is already a dead issue, and you're going to bring up a new resolution?
All right. Coming here, like, if this is Ricardo Quijano speaking, not as a VFW member, because I haven't spoken to the officers, right? Coming here and doing this, it'll be, and some of you might see it wrong. Right? I could go to city council members and spearhead it through the VFW, right? And I'm just letting you all know as a courtesy what's gonna happen. But I know it's gonna be a lot of pushback, because that's why I'm coming here also at the same time, for communication, for unity, for cohesion. That's
Just a minute, Mr. Lopez.
because when I went to the council meeting, you know what I did tell the council members? If you want to make it happen, you're gonna grab the bulls by the horn and just make it happen.
Mr. Quijano, what I can say as chairman of this committee is that we welcome any and all projects, ideas, issues that will improve the quality of life of this community of veterans,
Yes,
the
sir.
veteran committee. Obviously, if that's something that your organization wants to do, we will welcome your comments and your opinions and whatever you want to present to this committee, and we'll act on it accordingly when the time comes. If we are talking about the seed money that we have been talking about all this time, we keep hearing the same stories and like Mr. Alvarez said, that this committee has already acted on that issue. We have no control over it whatsoever. However, we do control whatever we say here and whatever we vote on. And then it's taken to the city council, and they do whatever they want to do with it. But certainly we will make known our wishes. If you come up with a plan and put it to the vote, we'll certainly listen to you and we'll vote on it.
Yes, sir.
And we also thank you for all the work that you do on all these different projects in your organization, and everybody's organizations, because it's not easy.
That's not.
We're coming out here and doing what we want to do to improve the quality of life of our veterans. And for all of you that do that, we thank you. So if you have an idea that you want to bring to this committee, we will listen to you.
Yes, sir.
Your work will not go in vain. How they're going to vote, there's no telling, but we'll certainly listen to it and we'll put it to a vote and see where it goes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Vergano?
Yes, sir. If I may, sir, for the record of Florida, this thing about the museum has been going on for a long time, sir.
Yes.
And you're right, we voted against a certain place for the museum. Now, I stand to be corrected, but I understand that all post office downtown belongs to the city.
Correct.
There would be a good site for the museum, sir. Just a recommendation.
It certainly could be, and like I said, the issue has been that this money has been encumbered.
Yep.
And it cannot be moved, and you and I know better than that.
Yes, sir. It was designated for that, and that's.
But it can be undesignated.
Yes, sir.
You and I know that.
Yes, sir. I just want to let you know that we do have that old post office building. Maybe we can look into that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Adjourn.
Okay, so it is now 12:45, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay.
Nay.
This meeting is adjourned. Warriors, thank you very much again. And like I said before, I will give time to anybody that has anything to say to improve the quality of life of the veterans of this community.